Ksheerasagara Madanam, or otherwise known as the churning of the Milky Ocean, is one of the grandest events described in ancient Indian texts. This story has importance not only in Indian culture but also to most of the East Asian cultures. When we say Milky Ocean, is it really milk or something else? Having a milk of ocean full of milk is impossible. So, what could that be? In my research, I found out that the Milky Ocean referenced in that Samudra Manthan is actually calcium bicarbonate that dissolved into the water. Let's go deep into the talk. I named the title talk of this talk as Churning of the Milky Ocean and Formation of the Moon. Today is November 2nd, 2025. When initially planets were formed out of planetesimals, they they kind of collided with each other and formed as a planet and generated heat as part of their collisions. So when planets, and it could be a combination of different minerals made out of different elements, and when the planet was finally formed, due to heat, it was completely melt inside and out, and then it would have been looked like a molten ball of fire like this, with a uniform density of elements distributed all over the earth in the uniform way. And when the earth started to differentiate, all the heavier elements like iron and nickel started to accumulate at the center, and then the medium kind of elements accumulated in the mantle, and then lighter elements got pushed to the surface. When you look at the calcium, kind of accumulated at the top. Even though aluminum and silica are lighter than the calcium, they can't dissolve in the water. That's why they remained in the mantle, and then only calcium and then lighter elements like a gas and carbon moved to the surface of the earth. And here the calcium got merged with hydrogen, carbon, and then oxygen and formed as a calcium bicarbonate. And then that got dissolved into the water, and that gave a look of Milky Ocean. And then this is the core. When Earth was formed, only the one core was there. There is no inner core. Inner core started to form later when plate tectonics started. And then this is the mantle. And then because there is a water formed hydrosphere that is cooler compared to the inner side of the earth, so a hard crust was formed around the solid earth. And then as the planet started to differentiate, what happens as an example, like if you look at the skater pulling the hands closer to the body when he is skating, he is turning around, so his body turns faster than before because all the weight came close to his body. Similarly, when the earth differentiated into different layers, accumulating heavier elements at the center, whatever the rotation it has, that got increased due to the conservation of the angular momentum. So as the planet gained more speed in rotation, internal pressure increased in the mantle, and then it will push towards outside. So because there is a crust, so crust breaks apart in different places, and volcanoes formed in the early Earth due to increased rotational speed of the planet. So when the volcanoes started spewing the lava from the volcanoes, one of the volcanoes spewed more lava than the rest, and then that got accumulated around it on its periphery, and then that gave base for a mountain to grow even bigger. So this mountain grew tallest, like a maximum height possible, and then at some point whatever this lava it spewed, instead of falling back onto the earth, it kind of revolved. It might have reached the escape velocity and then revolved around the earth, and then that became the proto moon, and then all the whatever that revolving material coalesced into that proto moon and formed the present moon. So this is how the Kshirasagara Madanam is actually the formation of the moon is also basically early history of the earth, where it differentiated into different layers and increased the rotational speed, and then mountain volcanism increased on its surface. As a result, a tall mountain formed. From that material, whatever the material got ejected, revolved around the earth, and then that became the moon. So when we look at the moon formed after a few 100 million years after the formation of the earth. So age of the earth is 4.4 billion years approximately, and then moon was calculated around 4.2 billion years. So within in early history of the earth itself is the moon formed. So that whatever the theory that was explained in this diagram actually matches with the age of the earth. Whenever it differentiated in the early history, then only moon started to moon formed in that part of the history of the earth. So earth moon and earth both were existed in the first Manvantara. Bhagavatam places the Samudra Manthan in the fifth Manvantara. If the moon didn't exist before fifth Manvantara, how they calculated the time in previous Manvantaras? So my guess is that uh, Bhagavata Purana, where it placed the Manvantara formation of the moon in fifth Manvantara. So my guess is that that is a mix-up might have happened from the originally it was written to present state of where we are. So the moon actually formed even before the first Manvantara. Therefore, Samudra Manthan took place before the first Manvantara. First Manvantara started around 2800 million years ago, as I explained in my other talk about correlating Manvantara cycles with supercontinent cycles. So this is how the moon was formed. So what happened to the Milky Ocean? As the planet cooled, the calcium bicarbonate gets deposited onto the ocean floor. The earliest deposit of calcium could have been part of the Samudra Manthan. So when we look at the deposits of the layers in the earth, the earliest deposit of whatever the calcium component was, the element was there, that could have been part of the Samudra Manthan episode. Old calcium deposits turn to marble with heat and pressure. So the deepest layer of marble might have witnessed the epic event of Samudra Manthan. So what I say is pause for a second when you step onto a marble floor next time, because you don't know where that marble piece came from. So what is the how to, is there any example scenario where we described all this differentiation and then tallest mountain and forming the moon? So we have a tallest mountain presently, that's called Mount Olympus, is the tallest mountain in the entire system, that's on the Mars. So Mars has two natural moons, Phobos and Deimos. At least one of them could have formed from the lava ejected from the Mount Olympus. If my theory of formation of the moon on the earth is right, we can apply that to theory same to moons of the Mars using that Mount Olympus. So there is a similar kind of scenario is there on the solar system. And also another thing we need to look at is when the planets formed, they all their rotation axis is almost perpendicular to the solar plane of the solar system. But this is when uniform planet was there, like all the material was uniform within that. So, but present Mars has a tilt. So, the tilt on the Mars could have been because of the tallest mountain that made the weight of the planet. It created an imbalance in the system. So I remember seeing one of the research paper that suggested that the tilt in the axis of Mars is probably due to the presence of Mount Olympus on its surface. I don't remember the reference. When I able to get it, I will add that into comments or and then a description. So that is if that is the case, Earth also has a tilt. So then did Earth had a tallest mountain in its early history? So that could be possible. That's what I'm trying to say. Mount Meru possibly was the tallest mountain once existed on the Earth, and that created the imbalance, and then that's how the planet tilted to some degrees. So, as it is described in Bhagavatam, is it Mount Mantara or Mount Meru that was used in the Samudra Manthan? So, Mount Meru existed from the beginning of the earth, and Mount Mantara description is from 5th Manvantara. Mount Meru would have been the tallest mountain in the solar system. Height of the Mount Mantara is not known. Ejecting lava into orbit is only possible from the tallest mountain. So that's only applies to Mount Meru, and Mount Mantara cannot be used as the originating source for the moon. Therefore, looking at the circumstantial information, we could conclude that the mountain in the Samudra Manthan description is Mount Meru, not the Mount Mantara. So what happened to the Mount Meru? So rain, ice ages, plate tectonics might have eroded the 4 billion year old Mount Meru. There is not much plate tectonic activity or rain or ice ages on the Mars. So that's why whatever the tallest mountain that was formed still exists on the Mars. But here the Mount Meru might have been eroded. If it was there, where it could have been? A probable place for the Mount Meru to exist in the continent is the continent of Africa. So it is one of the stable and deep rooted continent. A tall mountain like Mount Meru could have provided the stability to the continent. So that is one possibility for Mount Meru to exist on the African continent. This I described in my 2009 book, Gravity from a New Angle, to some extent. In this talk, I added more details. This is the paragraph I depicted about Mount Kshirosagar Madanam. And in summary, what we could say that the story of Samudra Manthan is a description of the early history of the earth. Milky Ocean in Samudra Manthan is calcium bicarbonate. Mountain in the Churning probably is the Mount Meru, tallest mountain on the earth, not Mount Manthara. The tilt in the earth axis might have caused by the presence of Mount Meru. Lava from Mount Meru might have created the moon. The scenario of emergence of the moon from Mount Meru in a Milky Ocean with lot of volcanism on the surface would have been a beautiful sight to see. Yeah, when that scenario where differentiation occurring, and then all the ocean is like milk, and then the mountain lava ejecting from the mountain, and it is revolving around the earth and proto-moon forming. That scene would have been epic event. So that's why I think Indian culture and then East Asian cultures depict that as a very prominent event. Even all the ancient Indian texts describe that as a grandeur event. So, if we relate that event to this physical reality, does this research diminish the importance of Samudra as it was told in the Puranas? My answer is no. There is more to the story than what I compared with some physical events. There might be different meaning to describe the event as a fight between Sura and Asuras, gods and demons, and also there is more to explore to check the nature of what is halahalam and what is amritam. Those two things that were emerged from the churning along with many other entities. Like goddess Mahalakshmi also emerged from Samudra Manthan, and we need to know the nature of what that event is. And Alahalam is what Shiva drank, and Mata Parvati stopped it, and then it stuck in Bhagwan Shiva's throat. That's how he became a Nilakanta. And then Bhagwan Vishnu became a turtle and supported the Mount Meru. That's what it was described. But uprising volcanoes might be the nature of the turtle that was described in the event. So that's how I compare with Kshira Sagara Madhanam with the early history of the earth. Thank you for watching.